And news came out today that John Wall has agreed with the Houston Rockets. They both agreed to trade him. So the Rockets are like, look, we get it. We want to go young. You don't really fit what we're trying to do. So we will try to trade you. And John Wall is all in because obviously he wants to play with a veteran team and try to win or at least have a different role. So what he's going to do is continue to practice with the team. And by all accounts, everything is amicable. They're getting along and there's no bad blood or anything. He understands that, it might take a while to trade him with that contract. Rob, he's got $91 million left, 2 years, $91 million this year. And then this year is $44 million. Next year is $47 million. And so, it's not going to be a ton of takers for that. And the Rockets, so he's going to practice with the Rockets, be at training camp, but he won't play in games. So, Rob, who knows how long this could drag out, but he could be played for months for just practicing, basically. It's hard to find a team, Rob, that you think makes sense for John Wall. He's 30 years old. He has had, a couple of injuries, although he played well last year. Last year he averaged 20 points, 20 and a half points a game, 7 assists. It was a bad Rockets team, but he did his thing. Looked like the old John Wall for the most part. And I'm going to throw a team out to you, Rob. It's really the only trade that I see making sense for a team to bring in John Wall. I like to get your thoughts. We know what is our man Antonio Daniels always tells us, Rob. It's an arms race. Right. You saw what Brooklyn's got. You saw what the Lakers have done. Even if it doesn't fit, they're just like, hey, get the talent. We'll see. We'll make it work. How about this, Rob? John Wall to the Clippers.
Uh-oh.
For Eric Bledsoe, Luke Kennard, and Serge Ibaka.
So you
Ibaka hardly played this year. That works financially.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Whew.
Because Houston you might be like, well, look, we're taking on Wall's huge contract. We're taking that off your hands. You're going to have to take some stuff too, right? So right. Kennard, he's not that old. Bledsoe, I think is hurt a lot. So I'm ready to move on from him. They just traded for him. So it'll have to wait a couple months before they could even trade him. And then Ibaka, Rob, didn't even play in the playoffs for the Clippers, so they know what they can do without him.
Didn't he?
Right. So, and then I can look at Houston and say, all those guys could be leaders for your young guys. Especially, Ibaka in particular, and then maybe even Bledsoe. So, I don't know. I'm throwing that out. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean,
I guess from the Clippers standpoint, you like the Clippers. I mean, look, that's a big three of Wall, Kawhi, and Paul George.
No, man. I get it. I get it. I mean, you know what? I'm going to be honest here. Not sure that John Wall is a winner. Is that fair or unfair?
Yeah, I mean, it's fair. Obviously, he hasn't gotten to the finals. But
I'm not just saying. I don't. The malaise
he did take them to the playoffs for 4 years, though.
The malaise of his career, I don't know, Chris. He seemed like an albatross.
4 out of 5 years, 2014, 2015, 2017, and 2018, he took them to the playoffs, and twice they got to the second round. And basically got beat by better teams.
Okay, I'm just saying that's my initial thought.
It's fair. It's fair to ask. It's fair. And I think there are a lot of people around the NBA that wonder that.
Yeah, that's just and you make a case. I mean, you know what? I forgot about those numbers, Chris. I couldn't remember they made the playoffs 4 times.
Remember him and the Bradley Beal? They were pretty decent. They were okay.
Yeah. So I mean that says something there, And if you're the Clippers, I mean, you're not giving up anybody who's the
right
like
key
meat
to your
and potatoes
team.
to your success. and even Serge didn't play, and they made it to the Western Conference Finals.
Right.
So,
right.
I think that's possibly doable, especially because you're not going to have Kawhi for the most part of the year, if at all, next year, right?
Right. And here's my thing. When they do, let's say they do get, when Kawhi and Paul George are there, I think, Rob, that John Wall would understand. I'm the third guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he steps into that situation understanding. Now, granted, like you said, he'd be there without Kawhi for a while. But I think when Kawhi got back, Wall would understand I'm the third guy, and he wouldn't be looking to, put up huge numbers. I think he would be more of a playmaker and really be about winning. Somebody mentioned Philadelphia. Obviously, I don't know if you do it with Ben Simmons, does Houston want Ben Simmons? But John Wall, in Philadelphia, this is why I don't love it. And it kind of goes to your point, Rob, of whether or not he's a winner. He's the second guy in Philadelphia. If he goes to Philly, he's going to be like, okay, I'm a star. I got to put up numbers. And I would rather him be that third guy. So
you think he's better off in a third slot than a number two?
Yeah, at this point, because even though I mentioned he's made the playoffs several times, and I kind of like John Wall, it's fair to ask, is he a winner? Right. It's fair to ask. So
it's just something that I don't know what it is, and maybe most of it isn't his fault. He's just been in bad spots, right, Chris, and whatnot. Right. So, you kind of get a feel, and now he's bouncing around all these teams like he's unwanted. Yeah. It doesn't feel. It feels like you're taking someone else's hand-me-downs. It doesn't feel like, oh my God,
somebody else's
they got John Wall. Oh my, well, what? They got no. It ain't like that. It's like, oh, John Wall got dumped again.
Right. No, I hear you, and he's last 3 years of his career, well, 4 years, 41 games in 2018, 32 in 2019, didn't play the entire 2020 season, and then last year, 40 games. So there's that. Yeah. So you're taking on a problem and getting rid of some of your problems, if you want to look at it that way. But it's just, it's something I think the Clippers.
Interesting.
Yeah, because do they have enough, to beat the Lakers? That's really what it's all about, at least in the West. All right, Trollin or Rollin with Martin Weiss is now.
They see me trolling.
Tom Brady, he's done.
Aaron Rodgers did not have a Pro Bowl season.
Trying to catch me riding.
It's Trollin or Rollin.
That's right. It's Trollin or Rollin. I'm Martin Weiss. And just in case this is your first time hearing it, I'll break it down for you real quick. If the odd couple like the story that I read, you hear the roll sound.
They see me rolling.
And if they don't, you'll hear that troll sound.
Oh, man. Hey.
Now, Rob, Chris, the Urban Meyer regime got off to a rough start on Sunday as the Houston Texans rolled them 37-21. The Jags were penalized constantly on Sunday. Receivers dropped 6 passes. Meyer said after the game, after 3 preseason games, you'd think we'd have that fixed. So that's something that we're going to do. I would guesstimate you would not see that again. Chris, Trollin or Rollin, Urban Meyer and the Jaguars will turn it around.
I'm trolling it. Oh, man. Hey. It's going to be tough sledding for Urban, Trevor, and the Jags this year. It just is. The roster's not that impressive. Heck, Tim Tebow almost made the team. That's how bad they are. The Broncos, who looked good over the weekend, they got them next. Then they got Arizona, your Arizona Cardinals, Martin. Bengals.
That's 0-3 right there. I see 0-3.
The Bengals, they're beatable, but they look pretty good in the opening week. And then the Titans, Dolphins, Seahawks, Bills, Colts. My goodness. 49ers. It's the Falcons in whatever week that is, 11 or whatever. My man. There's only a few bright spots potentially there. So, yeah, I'm trolling. It's going to be a rough year.
Yeah, I'm trolling it as well.
Oh, man. Hey.
Martin, did you bet this game? I'm curious this weekend.
Absolutely, I bet this game. This is one of my locks. Houston +4.
Okay,
And I bet it on the money line.
Because this is my lock, too. I didn't think Jacksonville would win that game. But anyway, yeah, I'm trolling it. I think it's going to be a long season for Urban Meyer. This is not college football. He took over a bad team. They're paying him $12 million or whatever. He's getting a ton of loot, so he's going to have to work it out. But this is going to be a bad one for him.
Trollin or Rollin, odd couple, Fox Sports Radio. Now, speaking of the Broncos, they were rumored on every high-profile quarterback on the market and eventually signed Teddy Bridgewater. Now, Teddy Bridgewater, former early pick, had a few stops since his knee injury, notably going 5-0 with New Orleans when replacing Drew Brees and starting last season for the Panthers, and he balled out on Sunday. Rob, Trollin or Rollin, the Broncos have found their guy with touchdown Teddy.
I'm rolling with it.
They see me rolling.
With that defense, they just need somebody who's pretty decent, pretty good. They don't need a world beater. And Teddy Bridgewater was good with the Vikings before he had that serious injury. And I'm not a star, not a top 10 quarterback, but he can play and he doesn't turn the ball over. I'm cool with Teddy Bridgewater with that defense.
I'm trolling it.
Oh, man. Hey.
I get where Rob's coming from. I'm kind of with, I think they found their guy for this year, and I think he's a solid player. So with that defense, he's right. You don't need Pat Mahomes behind center. But I'm thinking more long term. Is this their guy now for the next 5 years? And they don't have to look for a quarterback in the draft or free agency or whatever? No. I don't think he's a star. I don't think he's an all-pro or anything like that or even a Pro Bowler. So I'm trolling it in that regard. But I do like this team, and I like Teddy as a little bit more than a game manager. So I think they could have a good year with him, but going forward, I don't think he's their long-term answer.
Teddy Bridgewater, only 28 years old, by the way.
He's not that old.
Way older than that. Are you serious?
I know. He does seem a lot older than that. He'll be 29 shortly, but...
Yeah, he'll be 29 this season, but, when you think about quarterbacks playing at 32, 33, 34 and on, it just makes you think.
Late 30s, he could have another decade.
Trollin and Rollin, odd couple, Fox Sports Radio. Now, Peyton and Eli Manning did a simulcast of Monday Night Football last night, and it was billed as sort of watching a game with Peyton and Eli on the couch. Now, we've seen alternate locations for games such as the Field of Dream games or different broadcasts targeted at other age groups, like the NFL broadcasting on Nickelodeon with the slime and the slime buckets for touchdowns. Rob, I know you love that. But, Rob, trolling or rolling, the performance from Peyton and Eli last night will change the way play-by-play and color commentary is now.
I'm trolling it.
Oh, man. Hey.
I get it. You try something. I was around when they did no broadcasters and they just had mics all over the field. It was a Jets game at Shea Stadium, and there were no announcers on an NBC game. It just wasn't.
I thought it was going to be good, Rob. You're hearing the
do you remember that, Chris?
Talking, yeah. I
remember that, right? It was a Jets game.
I was in 8th grade.
Jets Bills or something at Shea Stadium, and I was like, this is awful. And I'm not saying, you know what, people might think it's neat or something different. I want the information. I want all the other stuff. I want regular guys doing the game. I'm sitting on the couch. I don't need to sit on the couch with Peyton and Eli.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I didn't even see Peyton and Eli. I knew they were doing it, but I was just watching the regular broadcast. I'm with Rob, though. I can't imagine it was that good. I think some good things came out of it. I heard some good clips and some quotes and things like that. It could be a nice supplement, but instead of the regular broadcast, I'm not ready to go there. I'm trolling that.
Oh, man. Hey.
And, of course, Martin loved it because he's a millennial and anything that's different and off the beat path.
Hold on a second. Wait, hey, pump the brakes over there, old timer. Just because you see how he said all the way up to 55 right there, Chris? He's pushing his limit. I'll I didn't necessarily enjoy it in the way that I thought it was interesting, right? I did watch most of the Peyton and Eli broadcast. My biggest takeaway was I think Peyton Manning, like every other TV executive on the planet, I think he'd be great as a standard color commentator. I would like to see a more defensive people. I saw when they had Ray Lewis on, and Ray Lewis was there. You had Manning and Lewis going back and forth, and you can kind of I would like to see more of that in the booth, but I think those two guys with the play-by-play guy is probably the best broadcast that I could come up with to in my. I'm sorry.
So what?
I would want to see not Ray Lewis. No. I'm sorry. I misspoke. Like Ray Lewis, but I want to see Aqib Talib doing it. We've already heard Aqib Talib calling games on Fox. I think he's great. I would love to see him, Peyton Manning, insert play-by-play guy. I think that would be a magical move.
So Martin, what was it like? I mean, it was just you're watching the game and you hear Peyton and Eli
chime in.
So they weren't like necessarily calling like saying Lamar's back to pass or he missed that one.
Right.
But they were like, like for example, when Derek Carr had targeted Darren Waller like for 12 times in the first half or something ridiculous like that, they were pointing out things like that and how like that's out of the ordinary. And just kind of talking about how like Peyton's like, I would have never targeted one single guy in the offense, and this is the reason why. And it's like, but the reason why Derek Carr is doing it. But honestly,
so was it good? I mean, it sounds like you probably got some decent insight.
Right. Hey, we got trash talking coming up.
I will trash talk this real quick and say that Peyton Manning needs to be more critical if he wants to do this for like full time in his career.
Well, that's the other problem.
No quarterback did anything wrong last night.
Right, of course. That's the other problem with the ex players.
All right. Thank you, Martin. We appreciate it, brother.